He has just got into a beef with one of the most feared gravediggers in Baton Rouge, and I don't think Thug or his team even know it yet, okay? Young Thug just put his foot in it, all right? This is insane. One of the most scary and just legendary Baton Rouge hitters, all right? One of Youngboy's most prolific shooters, Herm the Black Sheep, okay? He's saying that it's on site with Young Thug. And Young Thug and his crew, they're running around like flunkies saying get in the field. They're talking, Pee Wee Roscoe's talking about this guy ain't putting no work. He has absolutely no idea.
Rappers are reacting to the NBA Youngboy and Young Thug beef, and the internet has not been the same since. NBA Youngboy's artist NBA Herm went on Instagram stories and called out Young Thug directly. Young Thug clapped back with a now deleted response, and then Thug's own sister jumped in the comments. Within 48 hours, the whole rap internet split down the middle. Team YB on one side, Team Slime on the other, and rappers, fans, and commentators from every corner of the culture were throwing their weight around like they had a personal stake in it. Y'all need to hear this, because this ain't just some random social media dust-up that's gonna blow over by Friday. No cap. This situation cuts deep. It touches loyalty. It touches gang politics. It touches the ongoing war between NBA Youngboy's camp and Lil Durk's camp that has been sitting on a slow boil since King Von got killed in 2020. And when Young Thug tweeted, "Free Smirk, please God," showing public love to Lil Durk while Durk is sitting in a legal situation, NBA. Youngboy's people said, "Now fam, you just picked a side." So now we got rappers reacting, fans going crazy, and a situation that nobody saw coming between two artists who used to collab and call each other brothers. Let me break it all down for you. Before we talk about what's happening right now, y'all gotta understand what was supposed to be happening. Because for years, NBA, Youngboy, and Young Thug were not ops. They were not even in neutral territory. These two had genuine love for each other on wax, on live streams, in the interviews, all of it. Let me paint the picture. Young Thug, born Jeffrey Lamar Williams out of Atlanta, Georgia, one of the most influential voices rap has ever produced. The man literally changed the way rappers sound. The vocal runs, the melodic trap delivery, the fashion-forward aesthetic. Thug didn't follow a lane, he built one. He went from sleeping in hotels as a teenager to running YSL Records, stacking a whole roster of artists under his name. He is one of the architects of the modern sound. NBA Youngboy, born Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a man who started making music from behind prison walls as a teenager and ended up becoming the most viewed artist on YouTube for multiple consecutive years. No label push, no radio cosign, just raw output, raw emotion, and a fan base that rides harder than almost anything the game has seen. The man dropped albums while on house arrest. He dropped diss tracks while Lil Durk was trying to pick release dates against him. He's been in and out of legal trouble his whole life and still kept making music. That's not regular dedication. That's something else entirely. These two men made music together. Permanent Scar, $1 Million Kid. They went on Instagram Live together. When Young Thug got out of that YSL RICO case, one of the longest, most brutal legal battles hip-hop has seen in recent years, he went on social media and publicly asked Youngboy to call him. Think about that. One of the biggest names in the game, freshly released from a high-profile RICO case, and one of the first things he's doing publicly is reaching out to Kentrell. That's not industry networking. That's a real relationship. So when people say, "I thought they were cool," that ain't just internet confusion, fam. That's based on years of actual documented history between these two men. But here's where it gets crazy. Let me give you the exact moment this whole thing got lit. Young Thug went on X, formerly Twitter, and posted a few tweets about some of his industry people. Nothing crazy at first glance, but one specific tweet hit different. He wrote, quote, "Free Smirk, please God." For anybody who doesn't know, Smirk is Lil Durk. That is Durk's nickname in the streets and in the rap world. And Lil Durk right now is sitting in a serious legal situation. So Thug was showing public love, public support to Lil Durk. On the surface, that sounds like just a homie showing love to another homie going through it. And if this were any other situation, it probably wouldn't have moved the needle. Rappers show love to each other on social media all the time. But here's the thing, gang, and this is the part that the casual fans missed entirely. Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy have been beefing in a very serious way since at least 2020. This isn't some light back and forth where they're trolling each other on Twitter. This goes back to the death of King Von, Durk's closest friend, one of Chicago's brightest young stars, who was shot and killed in Atlanta after a confrontation with associates of Quando Rondo. Quando Rondo was signed to NBA Youngboy's Never Broke Again label at the time. That connection alone was enough to start a fire that has never fully gone out. By 2022, Dirk dropped Aha, a track that went directly at Youngboy, and Youngboy responded with one of the most chaotic diss songs in recent memory, I Hate Youngboy. That song didn't just go at Dirk, it went at Dirk's girlfriend India Royale, referenced King Von's death, dragged Gucci Mane, and basically torched half the industry in one freestyle. DJ Academics himself caught the smoke when he ran his mouth about Youngboy's sales. Youngboy called him a fat hoe on Twitter and didn't blink once. Then came the album Showdown in May 2023. Youngboy dropping Richest Op on the same day Dirk was supposed to drop Almost Healed. Dirk pushed his album back. Youngboy went on camera dancing in front of a stack of cash saying, "Bitch ass and God, you pushed back. You bet not ever try it again." He tweeted at Dirk, "Don't play with me," called India Royale out by name and told her to warn her man. This wasn't music beef no more. This was personal. And through all of this, through all the diss tracks, the social media wars, the concert venue cancellations because the streets were too hot for YB to play Chicago, where was Young Thug standing? That's the question nobody was asking out loud, until now. Because when Thug posted Free Smirk Please God, he wasn't just sending prayers for a homie. In the language of street politics, which is the language both of these camps speak fluently, he just picked a side. Here's where it gets real. NBA Herm, one of NBA, Youngboy's artist, one of his writers, somebody who Youngboy himself has put on, saw that tweet from Young Thug, and he did not let it slide. NBA Herm went to his Instagram stories and tagged Young Thug directly. He wrote, and I need y'all to feel the weight of every word here, at Thugger1, Top say your beard ain't slime no more anyway. How you want to do it? Top, that's what they call Youngboy, 4KT. King of the streets in his camp's eyes. NBA Herm was speaking directly as a soldier representing his general. He was essentially saying, Youngboy has clocked your allegiance with Dirk. Your Bakin, meaning whoever Thug is protecting or riding for in that camp, ain't slime no more. And the question how you want to do it isn't a polite inquiry. That's a confrontation. That is an invitation to let it be known where things stand. And then, Young Thug responded. The response was brief, and it was deleted shortly after it went up, which tells you Thug may have caught himself before things escalated further. But screenshots don't lie. The now deleted message from Young Thug read, "Nee, shut your fana up, LOL. Fan." He called NBA Herm a fan. That is one of the biggest disrespects you can throw at somebody in the rap world, especially when that person is positioned as a street-affiliated member of an artist's camp. Calling somebody a fan is calling them a spectator. It's saying you don't belong in these conversations. You're watching from the outside. And Herm was not about to let that ride. He fired right back. This time he didn't tag Thug's rap name. He used his government name, Jeffrey. He wrote, "Oh yeah? Bet that Jeffrey you know what up from here." The use of the government name in that context is never an accident. That is a deliberate escalation. Jeffrey, you know what's up from here. No punctuation, no emojis, just the statement. Let it breathe. By the time these posts were circulating, Young Thug's sister had also jumped into the comments, appearing to co-sign Thug's position and throw a few shots of her own. The whole family was in it now, and social media was moving at full speed. The internet caught everything. The Shade Room posted the screenshots. DJ Academics picked it up. Say Cheese had it. The comment sections were on fire within the hour. Now here's where the dots started getting connected, gang. First thing the internet pointed out, Young Thug publicly asked NBA Youngboy to call him after he got out of the YSL Rico situation, not the other way around. Thug reached out to YB, and now within a year of that, he's posting Free Smirk, publicly aligning himself with YB's biggest active op. One Twitter user in Academics' comment section put it plainly, but was begging YB to answer the phone, Sue, who's the fan? That's the comment that went viral on its own. The internet was immediately divided but smart. Some fans said this wasn't beef. They said it was just Thug showing love to Dirk without thinking about the optics in YB's world. Others said no. You know who you are when you're posting that type of message publicly. You know who Dirk is to YB's camp. You post that. You post it knowing. Then there was a whole separate conversation happening about the older connection between Thug and Dirk. Because the truth is, Young Thug and Lil Durk have history. They made music together. They built a friendship over the years independently. The song Up the Side is one example. So some fans came to Thug's defense and said he's not choosing a side. He's just being loyal to someone he's personally known. That Herm bringing Top into it was the overreach. But here's what really happened when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture. The streets and the internet, which functions as the streets now, don't do nuance in real time. When you're in the middle of an active, unresolved beef of this magnitude, public loyalty to the op side is a statement. Full stop. It doesn't matter if your intention was personal. The optics are the message. And Thug, who is one of the smartest marketing minds to ever come through this game, whether people acknowledge it or not, he knows how optics work. So now the question people were asking wasn't just, is there beef? The question was, has Youngboy been aware all along that Thug's allegiance wasn't fully with his camp? And does this moment now force both sides to be explicit about where they stand? Let me tell you what made this even messier. NBA Youngboy's fan base, the 4KT movement, which is arguably the most loyal and active fan base in hip-hop right now, was not going to let this breathe quietly. These are the same fans who have been riding for YB through federal charges, house arrest, multiple baby mama situations, tour cancellations, everything. They don't separate themselves from him. When someone comes at their general, even sideways, they respond. And they responded loudly. This is the part y'all came for. Because it wasn't just fans reacting. The culture itself had something to say. Let me break down the reactions because they came from multiple directions and each one tells you something different about where the rap game is at right now. On Instagram and Twitter, the conversation got deep fast. People who understood the history of this beef knew immediately that Thug's tweet wasn't just a casual post. One verified comment making rounds said, "Thug and Dirk been friends? He's tripping." Another one clapped back immediately. "Whatever Top say, go." Two camps, no middle ground. And then there was the famous comment, the one that everybody kept quoting, that read, "Wybe next album, King Slime." That one went everywhere because it was calling the situation. If Youngboy takes this beef and makes music out of it, what kind of chaos are we looking at? King Slime would be a direct reference to Young Thug's Slime Nation brand. That's a whole statement on its own. Now, people were also pointing out the irony of the situation in real time. One Instagram user wrote, "Nying wouldn't know slime if it wasn't for Thug." Now that's pointing at the fact that slime as a term in rap culture came through Young Thug and his circle. YSL, Young Stoner Life, that's where slime was solidified as a real cultural marker in this generation of rap. So the argument was, you can't call someone no longer slime when that someone's camp helped define what slime means in the first place. But the counter to that is equally valid. Youngboy didn't build himself on being slime. He built himself on being 4KT, never broke again. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, period. He don't need the slime brand to validate his lane is his own. So calling Youngboy's side not slime no more is almost missing the point of who Kentrell is entirely. And Reddit? Fam, Reddit was on another level with this one. The hip-hop subreddits were going crazy dissecting this exchange like it was a Supreme Court case. One thread broke down the entire timeline. Thug's Ryko release, the reach out to YB, the free smirk tweet, Herm's IG story, all the way through to the deleted response. The top comment in that thread said something that stuck. Thug survived a Rico. He's not scared of Herm, but he is smart enough to know when not to fight a battle that isn't his. That take had thousands of upvotes and started a whole separate conversation about whether Thug's deletion was fear or strategy. Because that's the part people kept debating. Was the deletion a sign of backing down, or was it Thug being calculated? Deleting that message before it could fully circulate told some people that Thug thought better of escalating, but it also gave the internet just enough to run with. Those screenshots were already out. Deleting it at that point was closing the barn door after the horse bolted. The internet don't forget, fam, ever. Other artists were watching too, even if they weren't saying anything publicly. That silence from established names in the game spoke volumes. In a situation this heated, involving two artists with this much history and this much pull, you'd expect some commentary from the sidelines. But most rappers kept their mouths shut and their quote tweets empty. And that tells you something. When the stakes are real, people don't volunteer themselves into the crossfire. What was also fascinating was how Lil Durk's name, and by extension his situation, was threading through all of this without Durk even having to show up in person. Durk is sitting in a legal battle right now, but his presence in the streets, the loyalty people show him, the way his name keeps pulling gravitational weight in these conversations, that's something that can't be manufactured. Real recognize real, and Dirk has built enough real for people to keep going to bat for him even when he can't go to bat for himself. There's also something important that got lost in all the reaction noise that I need to put y'all on to. One fan comment, buried deep in the Shade Room thread, said, "All this because he said free Dirk? Dirk got them pressed." And honestly, that comment cuts to the bone, because what it's exposing is that Youngboy's camp is so locked in on that beef with Dirk that even the most indirect public support for Dirk reads as a threat. That's how deep this goes. That's how present the King Von Shadow still is over all of this even years later. And that's not nothing. That matters to the overall picture here. Let me zoom out for a second, because what happened between NBA Herm and Young Thug isn't just about two people trading words on Instagram. It's a symptom of something much larger that's been building in the culture. Like, here's the real tea. NBA Youngboy has spent the last few years being the most prolific rapper alive while also being at war, either musically, lyrically, or politically, with a significant portion of the rap industry. We're talking Lil Durk, NLE Choppa, now NLE the Great, and now potentially the extended Young Thug/YSL universe. That's a lot of fronts to be standing on simultaneously. But here's the thing that separates Youngboy from almost anyone else in this game. His people ride hard. When Herm saw that Thug tweet, he didn't wait for Youngboy to respond. He moved on his own. He said, "Top say," meaning he was acting as a proxy, as a representative, as a soldier moving for his general. That level of loyalty in an industry full of fair-weather friendships is not normal. That's built over real years and real moments. And Young Thug, coming off the YSL RICO case, is in a very different position than where he was before that case started. He spent years in a legal battle that could have ended his career entirely. He got out. He's rebuilding. He dropped UY Scooty in September 2025, a full studio album after one of the most difficult periods of his life. He has his own camp to think about, his own legacy to protect, his own alliances to maintain. When you're in that position, rebuilding, recalibrating, figuring out who's still standing with you, you lean into the people who showed up for you. And Lil Durk, whatever your feelings about that beef with Youngboy, showed up for Thug in visible ways during that RICO situation. That kind of loyalty doesn't get forgotten. So is Thug wrong? Is Herm wrong? Is this just a case of two different sets of loyalty operating in the same space and finally colliding? That's the real conversation the culture should be having. But the streets don't always wait for nuanced conversations, and neither do comment sections. Let's talk about what this situation means going forward. First, Youngboy himself has not directly addressed this publicly, at least not with a direct diss or direct statement toward Thug. But if we know anything about Kentrell Gaulden, we know that he communicates through music. He communicates through output. He doesn't always need to tweet. He posts a track and lets the bars do the explaining. The question the fan base is asking right now is a song coming? Because if Youngboy addresses this in music, if he puts Young Thug in the scope the way he put Dirk in the scope on I Hate Youngboy, that changes the temperature of everything. And y'all know what a Youngboy diss sounds like. That man does not hold back. He named government names. He named girlfriends. He brought in industry associations, brought in street affiliations, all of it. He went at Lil Durk on every angle imaginable. If he applies that same energy to this situation, we are looking at one of the most significant rap beef moments since Kendrick versus Drake. Second, Young Thug's position is delicate right now. He deleted his response to NBA Herm, which suggests there's at least some awareness that escalating this publicly isn't the move for him at this moment. He's got an album out, he's reestablishing himself, and getting into a full-scale public war with Youngboy's camp is not in his best interest creatively or politically right now, but he also can't look soft. He can't look like he got checked. The rap game has no mercy for perceived weakness, especially from someone with Thug's reputation and history. Third, NBA Herm himself. A lot of people underestimated him in this exchange. They called him a fan, an errand boy, somebody overstepping. But Herm moved with conviction. He didn't walk it back. He escalated strategically by using the government name, which is a very deliberate choice. He's putting himself on the map in a way that connects directly to YB's brand. Whether that's the right move long-term is a separate conversation, but nobody's ignoring NBA Herm this week. Fourth, and this is the one that cuts the deepest, where does this leave the relationship between Young Thug and Youngboy? Because these are two men who had genuine love for each other. You don't ask somebody to call you the day you get out of a RICO case if the relationship is fake. That meant something. But now, the public actions of both sides have created a clear divide. And once something is visible, once it's documented in screenshots that live on the internet forever, it becomes very hard to walk back privately. The culture has a way of forcing things into the open, whether the people involved are ready or not. And yet, fam, let me keep it 100 with you. What you're watching play out between NBA Youngboy's camp and Young Thug isn't just beef between two rap camps. It's a reflection of how the entire landscape of hip-hop has been reorganizing itself over the last 4 or 5 years. Think about what's happened. The King Von situation in 2020 created a fracture that has never fully healed between Chicago and Baton Rouge, between OTF and NBA, between two generations of artists who were supposed to be on the same team in the larger culture war against the industry. Young Thug's RICO case sent shockwaves through Atlanta's rap community and beyond, forcing rappers to evaluate who they were publicly willing to stand beside when the law got involved. Lil Durk's own legal situation right now is another reminder that the stakes in this life are not symbolic. They're real, with real consequences. And in the middle of all that, NBA Youngboy has become something rare and complicated. He is the most popular artist in terms of YouTube numbers, with a fan base that rivals any artist in any genre. He is also one of the most beefed up artists in the game, with active or unresolved issues with multiple camps simultaneously, and he hasn't slowed down. Not for house arrest, not for legal battles, not for public criticism, the machine keeps running. But let me talk about Young Thug's RICO situation specifically, because a lot of people glossed over how significant that was. Thug sat in that case for years. The state of Georgia came at YSL like they were trying to dismantle not just a rap label but an entire way of life. They used lyrics as evidence. They pulled in co-defendants. It was one of the most high-profile rap RICO cases in history, and it consumed the better part of 3 years of Jeffrey Williams' life. When he finally came out the other side, he was not the same man who went in. Not because he was broken, but because he had survived something that would have ended most people. And the first thing you do when you survive something like that is figure out who was standing by you the whole time. Now here's what nobody wants to say directly. During that RICO case, NBA Youngboy, who has his own complicated history with the federal system, never publicly made a big show of riding for Thug. There was no free Thug energy from the 4KT side of the fence that matched the level of what you saw from, say, people in the Atlanta community or fans who were locked in on that case. That doesn't mean Youngboy is cold-hearted. It means they were both dealing with their own situations. But if you're Thug and you're sitting in that legal battle and you're watching who shows up publicly and who doesn't, you're taking mental notes. Everybody does. That's human nature. So when Thug tweets, "Free Smirk please God" for Durk's situation right now, he might not just be acting on pure friendship, he might also be acting on the memory of who showed up for him and who didn't. That's the layer of this story that gets buried under all the social media noise. When Young Thug publicly says "Free Smirk," he's not just tweeting, he's signaling. And when Herm responds with "Top say your box ain't slime no more," he's not just clapping back. He's drawing a line, and these are signals about where alliances are in the post-RICO, post-Von, post-everything landscape of hip-hop. And everybody watching, every rapper, every fan, every A&R, every media personality is taking note. Because real recognize real, and nobody wants to be caught on the wrong side of a line that's already been drawn. So here's where we land, fam. Young Thug tweeted, "Free Smirk please God." NBA, Herm stepped up for Youngboy without being asked. Young Thug deleted a response and fired one off. Herm used the government name. Thug's sister got involved. The internet caught everything and replayed it for 2 days straight. And now the whole rap world is watching. The question isn't whether this becomes a full-blown beef, because the tea is already out there and both sides know it. The question is, who blinks? Who makes the next move? Does Youngboy address it in music? Does Thug address it in music? Does this stay at the level of social media back and forth, or does it evolve into something that reshapes the alliance map of hip-hop in 2026? And here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. This situation is connected to something bigger. Young Thug publicly supporting Lil Durk, Youngboy's biggest op, while Durk is going through legal hell, is not just a personal gesture. It's a political one. In street politics, in rap politics, in any kind of politics, you back the man, you back his cause. And backing Durk, in Youngboy's world, means something specific. The culture always reveals itself in these moments. This right here, this beef, this back and forth, these screenshots, this is the culture revealing itself. Keep your eyes on what happens next. Because when Youngboy moves, he moves different. And nobody on earth can predict what Kentrell does when he feels like somebody has underestimated his people. Drop in the comments below. Are you Team YB on this, or you think Thug was just showing loyalty to a homie? I want to know where y'all stand. Like the video if this broke it down for you. Subscribe if you ain't already, because we stay on top of every story before it breaks. No cap, no filter. We'll see y'all on the next one.